The history was freaked out. London was shocked. Humans were brainwashed. That was the story of the Great Train Robbery of 1963. Guys, welcome back to Allrounder Plus. The Great Train Robbery was the robbery of £2.6 million from a Royal Mail train heading from Glasgow to London on the West Coast Main Line in the early hours of the 8th of August 1963 at Britigo Railway Bridge, Ledburn, near Mentmore in Buckinghamshire, England. After tampering with the lineside signals to bring the train to a halt, a gang of 15, led by Bruce Reynolds, attacked the train. Other gang members included Gordon Goody, Buster Edwards, Charlie Wilson, Roy James, John Daly, Jimmy White, Ronnie Biggs, Tommy Wisby, Jim Hussey, Bob Welch and Roger Corddry, as well as three men known only as Numbers 1, 2, and 3, two of whom later turned out to be Harry Smith and Danny Pembroke. A 16th man, an unnamed retired train driver, was also present. With careful planning based on inside information from an individual known as the Ulsterman, named as Patrick McKenna in 2014, the robbers escaped with over £2.6 million, equivalent to £58 million today. The bulk of the stolen money was never recovered. The gang did not use any firearms. Jack Mills, the train driver, was beaten over the head with a metal bar. Mills suffered serious head injuries. After his partial recovery, he returned to work doing light duties. He retired in 1967 and died in 1970 due to an unrelated illness. He never overcame the trauma of the robbery. After the robbery, the gang hid at Leatherslade Farm. The police found this hideout, and incriminating evidence led to the eventual arrest and conviction of most of the gang. The ringleaders were sentenced to 30 years in prison. The plan to intercept and rob the overnight Glasgow to London Mail train was based on information from an unnamed senior security officer within Royal Mail who had detailed knowledge of the amounts of money carried. He was introduced to two of the criminals who would carry out the raid, Gordon Goody and Buster Edwards, by a London solicitor's clerk, Brian Field. The train was stopped at Britigo Bridge, and the robbers, assault force, attacked the high-value packages carriage. Frank Dewhurst was in charge of the three other postal workers, Leslie Penn, Joseph Ware and John O'Connor, in the HVP carriage. Thomas Kett, assistant inspector in charge of the train from Carlisle to Euston, was also in the carriage. Dewhurst and Kett were hit with cautious when they made a vain attempt to prevent the robbers from storming the carriage. Once the robbers had entered the carriage, the staff could put up no effective resistance and there was no police officer or security guard on board to assist them. The staff were made to lie face down on the floor in a corner of the carriage. Mills and Whitby were then brought into the carriage, handcuffed together, and put down beside the staff. The robbers removed all but 8 of the 128 sacks from the HVP carriage, which they transferred in about 15 to 20 minutes to the waiting truck by forming a human chain. The gang departed in their Austin Lodestar truck some 30 minutes after the robbery had begun and, in an effort to mislead any potential witnesses, they used 2 Land Rover vehicles, both of which bore the registration plates BMG 757A. The gang then headed along minor roads, listening for police broadcasts on a VHF radio, the journey taking somewhere between 45 minutes and an hour, and arrived back at Leatherslade Farm at around 4:30, at around the same time as the first reports of the crime were being made. Leatherslade was a run-down farm 43 kilometers from the crime scene, between Oakley and Brill. It had been bought 2 months earlier as their hideout. And after that, the first investigation was by the Police Criminal Investigation Department located at Aylesbury. The following investigation was under Detective Chief Superintendent Tommy Butler. As the result of continuous investigation, the culprits are captured. The trial happens in 1964 at Aylesbury Rural District Council. That all comes to sentencing, prison escapes, pursuit of fugitives. However, history has drawn a picture of this incident on her face.